I'm going to explain all of the electric guitars and where their styles sit. Is that guitar? Let's dive in. Guys, what is going on? IkeGuitar here. On today's video, we're going to go over all of the major types of electric guitars out there, and I'm going to fit them into nice genre-specific boxes for you. Hopefully it won't take too long, but if you're ever wondering if a guitar meets a certain style, this is the video for you. And before I begin, guitars can be played in almost any style. Most electric guitars can be made to play in a certain style. We just happen to have in our culture a certain look for most genres of music as well as a sound, and sometimes some guitars get there closer than others. So if you feel like you don't have a guitar that you want to play a genre for, do not be dismayed. You can play any genre with any guitar given enough work to make the sound decent. Alright, first off, let's talk about Gibson Les Paul style guitars. Gibson Les Paul style guitars are one of the big three of the big electric guitars you're going to find all across music, okay? The Gibson Les Paul is a single cut body with humbuckers and a maple cap and a mahogany back and sides. Generally, the Gibson Les Paul will also come with a mahogany neck and a rosewood fingerboard. Typically, Les Pauls are going to be used for a lot of heavy rock. Big rock sounds, you can use it for blues, you can use it for some country, but generally, the Gibson Les Pauls nowadays are used for modern rock and roll as well as blues music. Now, Gibson Les Pauls are also very good for jazz music. Don't sleep on the ability for the Gibson Les Paul to play jazz. It sounds great, it's nice and full and warm, so any genre that requires a fuller sound, Gibson Les Pauls are the way to go. Now, let's talk about the Telecasters. Telecasters have been around since the late 40s, early 50s. They have been a hallmark of American rock and roll and country music for a long time. As such, expect the Tele to play a role in those two genres of music. Country music and rock and roll are really great for Teles. Teles typically are just one solid piece of alder with some magnets and some strings. These things are super versatile and also just fulfill the basic requirements for an electric guitar. So you can get by with Telecaster sounds on almost any major genre in music today, including funk, including some jazz music, but the spank of the Telecaster lends itself to faster, more higher energy music genres. So take that in mind when you're playing your Telecaster. The last of the big three, the Stratocaster, is probably the mainstay for the vast majority of musicians. With infinite configurations and incredible style that's sure to please the eye, the Strat is an incredible workhorse of a guitar. 3 single coils, okay? The Strat is going to be a little snappy like the Telecaster, but the neck position pickup and that incredibly innovative 5-way selector switch with those out-of-phase sounds really make a lot of genres sound really cool. You cannot mistake a Strat sound on any record. We're talking funk, rock, country, shoegaze. Nearly every genre of music can use a Stratocaster. Even some of the more classic rock sounds. John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, Eric Clapton. You got freaking Jimi Hendrix, all use Stratocasters. They all sound awesome. The Beatles use Strats. The list goes on and on and on. And so these Strats are great. And not only do you get Strats, just get the Strat spin-offs. You get things like the Ibanez, where you're playing massive legato Satriani licks, or maybe you're playing like, you know, an Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrat with a huge dive bomb whammy bar, Floyd Rose whammy bar. Geez, the Strat offers so much versatility and functionality. Heck, even Stevie Ray Vaughan used a B-bender Strat on a lot of his music. The Stratocaster really is the jackknife, the Swiss Army knife of all guitars. So if you ever need a guitar for a gig, you're not sure what to bring the Strat. It's got great warm sounds, great hot sounds, great out-of-phase sounds, and really gives you those glassy tones you want for a lot of modern and classic rock. But we can't forget about the jazz boxes. Jazz boxes are a style of guitar. It's a nickname for a fully hollow, full-size electric guitar that really Gibson pioneered in the 50s and the 60s to accompany big band music. Things like the Gibson Birdland, the ES350, the Gibson L4, all of these incredible jazz boxes you guys can play for your own jazz gigs. Now, the only caveat with the jazz box is it's really only meant to play jazz. You can use it for other genres, but because the body is fully hollow, you're gonna have a hard time dealing with feedback on the stage. And playing a jazz box is actually a really fun experience, but they're also insanely expensive. So unless you really want a jazz box for a certain style of music, you have to know how it sounds, okay? The jazz boxes don't offer as much versatility as you may think, so consider just sticking to jazz if you're gonna buy a traditional jazz box. Alright, let's talk about semi-hollow guitars. So the semi-hollows differ from the fully hollow jazz boxes and the solid body electric guitars we know because the guitar is hollow, but it has typically a center block placed in the body. It was really meant to be a hybrid of the jazz box sound and the solid body electric sound. And what that semi-hollow piece of wood in the middle of the body does is it curtails feedback, it cuts sustain a little bit, but it gives it a really specific and peculiar sound. And you can hear guitars like the Gibson ES335 and all kinds of blues and jazz music, some rock music, some southern rock music, as well as worship music. I would say one of the more versatile guitars in the market today is going to be those center block styled semi-hollow guitars. But the other part about the semi-hollows that are cool is that they do have a very full body, so it works really well with really big chords, really great rhythm sections, and if you really need to, punch up those highs for those great lead sounds. Now guys, this is not an exhaustive list of every single kind of guitar out there, just a lot of those mainline electric style guitars that we know and love. Sometimes we just pick a guitar because of the optics, and that lends itself to the sound and the mythos of that guitar. I mean, what would Kurt Cobain be without an offset guitar? So let me know down below what you think. And of course, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram at IkeGuitar. Would love to connect with you there. As usual, have a good day, guys, and we'll see you next time.